was the devil, man. That was the devil, man. Real.
From King Von being openly branded a devil by fellow rappers to Lasky's bloodstained past that followed him everywhere, their stories exposed the brutal reality behind the music. These weren't just lyrics or internet rumors. There were cameras, court cases, and real bodies attached. And when the full truth surfaced, even hardened street legends fell silent. We have to start with a man many consider the most dangerous figure in drill history, King Von. Born Davon Daquan Bennett in 1994 on Chicago's South Side, raised in the notorious O Block, Von's life was shaped by tragedy from the very beginning. Affiliated with the Black Disciples, specifically the O Block faction, he grew up surrounded by violence, poverty, and death. When Von was just 11 years old, his father was killed in a gang-related shooting experience that forced him to learn far too early that life could be taken in an instant. That trauma followed him into his teenage years. Von quickly became entangled in the streets, racking up arrests for stolen vehicles and aggravated battery serious charges that showed how deep he was already in that world. But the moment that truly defined his reputation came in 2014 at only 19 years old. Von was charged with the murder of Malcolm Stuckey, a rival gang member. What followed was 3.5 years behind bars, no bond, no certainty, just a cell, and the constant question of whether he'd die in prison or walk free. Those years would shape everything that came next and turn his story into one of the most chilling cautionary tales hip-hop has ever seen.
Charged me the case I just got out for first degree murder and 2 attempt murders. They charged me with that shit. And I beat that. I'll get to that shit.
It went all the way to trial?
Yeah. They ain't just letting you off no shit.
The trial lasted about a week, and when the verdict was finally not guilty across the board, Von walked out courtroom a free man. He later described the moment as surreal and almost unbelievable, admitting it hit him emotionally, even as someone who openly embraced the hardened image of a street gangster.
The time they read the verdict, and you hear, not guilty of this charge, this charge, this charge, this charge.
Oh, that felt crazy.
Was it emotional?
Yeah, I done it, I'm gangster though. I done it. That's crazy. Yeah, that shit felt funny.
But here's where the story takes an even darker turn. Even after beating that case, multiple murder allegations continued to follow Von's name. According to police reports, social media posts, and even his own lyrics, authorities and observers linked him to at least 7 homicides. 7 lives let that really sink in. The rumors and accusations were so heavy that fellow Chicago rapper King Yella later went on record with a statement that sent chills through the city. Speaking after Von's death, Yella said Von was not human, calling him the devil based on what he allegedly did in the streets.
Not human, man. You're not regular, man. He was the devil, man. That was the devil, man. Real, man. That was the devil, man.
Everything came to a violent end. Von was involved in a confrontation with Quando Rondo's crew outside an Atlanta hookah lounge. Gunfire erupted, and within moments, one of drill music's biggest stars was dead gone at just 26 years old. Later reports suggested that had Von survived that night, he would have been facing new charges connected to a 2019 shooting in Georgia. One way or another, the streets finally caught up to him. That brings us to the man who signed King Von, the founder of Only the Family and one of the defining voices of Chicago drill Durk Derek Banks, better known as Lil Durk. Born in 1992 in Chicago's infamous Englewood neighborhood, Durk didn't just witness gang violence, and poverty was shaped by it. In 2010, he founded Only the Family, originally as a rap collective, but prosecutors have since alleged it functioned as something far more dangerous, accusing it of operating as a gang tied to violent activity beyond music. Durk's lyrics often reflected that reality, filled with references to street wars, enemies, and survival, cementing his authenticity in drill culture. That Durk's legal troubles stretched back to 2011, when he caught his first gun charge and served 3 months. But that was only the beginning. In 2019, he faced serious charges including attempted murder and gang-related activity stemming from a non-fatal Atlanta shooting that also involved King Von, highlighting just how closely their lives and paths were intertwined. The most damaging moment, however, came in 2024, when Durk was named a federal superseding indictment, charged with conspiracy to commit murder for hire, firearms offenses, and murder resulting in death. Prosecutors tied the case to an alleged 2022 plot targeting Quando Rondo, same figure linked to Vaughn's killing. That attack instead claimed the life of Rondo's cousin. Authorities allege Durk used OTF earnings to finance violence, painting him as the head of a criminal enterprise masquerading as a record label. It was a stunning accusation, one of hip-hop's biggest stars allegedly bankrolling murder. In later interviews, Durk has spoken about learning restraint, trusting his instincts, and try to control his actions rather than letting the streets or the people around him decide his fate.
We started with life first. Like I started trusting my instinct through life, and it just started building. So the type of music I make, it'd be like, no, I ain't gonna say that, I'm gonna say this, or I'm gonna change the tempo, I'm gonna change this beat up, I don't wanna say this, I don't wanna disrespect this, I control myself now, instead of everybody around me controlling me.
Whether Durk beats these charges or not remains to be seen, but one thing is undeniable: his legacy will forever sit at the crossroads of musical brilliance and allegations of extreme violence, a debate that will follow his name for years to come. And now we arrive at the Godfather himself, the artist who put Chicago drill on the global map and changed hip-hop forever. Keef Farrell Cozart, better known as Chief Keef. Born in 1995 on Chicago's South Side in Englewood, Keef exploded onto the scene through raw YouTube freestyles that captured street life with authenticity the industry had never witnessed. His early beefs, especially the infamous diss involving Tuka, a slain rival gang member, did more than fuel music rivalry. The phrase "smoking Tuka" spread far beyond songs, becoming a real-world taunt that intensified violence on both sides of Chicago's gang wars. Keef's run-ins with the law started early. In 2011, at just 15 years old, he was arrested for manufacturing and delivering heroin near a school. That same year, he was also arrested after allegedly pointing a gun at police during a chase that involved shots being fired. He faced aggravated assault charges and was eventually placed on house arrest, ironically, the very situation that helped launch his career, forcing him to record music and shoot videos from inside his home. When Keef later sat down with the Breakfast Club and was asked about that police shootout, his response was pure Chief Keef calm, unapologetic, and emblematic of the mindset that made him both a drill legend and a controversial figure.
That you shot all your original videos from your house because you was on house arrest because you had a shootout with the police?
My lawyer said don't talk about that.
Okay.
That means that's true. We just can't talk about it.
By 2013, Keef was back in trouble after violating probation for handling a rifle in a music video, a move that landed him 60 days behind bars. The arrests kept stacking up after that, getting caught driving 110 miles per hour in a 55 zone, drug possession charges, and even a 2017 armed home invasion involving his own producer. His rap sheet started to read less like headlines and more like a crime novel. By 2014, the pressure in Chicago became so intense that Keef relocated to Los Angeles, trying to escape the warrants and nonstop heat. The city that made him famous had become too dangerous even for its own creation. Still, by then, his influence on drill and the violence often tied it was already permanently etched into hip-hop history. Now we shift from Chicago to Bronx, where Kevin Perez, better known as K-Flock, was rapidly become the face of New York drill before everything collapsed. Born in 2003 in the Belmont section of the Bronx, K-Flock blew up with tracks like Being Honest, capturing the raw, chaotic energy of the city streets. He was affiliated with Sevside/DOA, Dead on Arrival, a gang tied to territorial violence, fraud, and multiple criminal operations. His music didn't just reflect that lifestyle, it amplified it. His diss tracks went beyond disrespect, actively escalating real gang wars that spilled blood across New York. In 2021, at only 18 years old, K-Flock was arrested for the murder of Oscar Hernandez outside a Harlem barbershop. Prosecutors described it as a targeted killing, not a random act, but a deliberate execution. Then in 2023, federal authorities stepped in with sweeping RICO charges: racketeering, conspiracy, attempted murder, and assault, linking him to multiple shootings between 2020 and 2021. The government painted K-Flock as a leader within Sevside DOA, accusing him of using music to glorify violence, taunt rivals, and trigger deadly retaliation. In 2025, the hammer finally dropped. 30 years in federal prison. The judge pointed directly to his role in fostering what they called a culture of violence. 30 years. By the time he sees freedom again, the prime of his life will be long gone. That's the real price of living what you rap. Staying in New York, we have a talk about one of the pioneers of Brooklyn drill, Michael Kyle Williams. better known as Sheff G. Born in 1998 in Flatbush, Sheff G helped define New York's drill sound with records like No Suburban. But like many before him, his rise in music ran parallel with a deep involvement in the streets, affiliated with the 8 Trey Crips, specifically the 9-Way subset. His criminal history started early joining the gang at just 12 years old. He served 2 years for a felony gun charge, followed by another 2-year sentence in 2015 for robbery, cycling in and out of the system before he was even old enough to vote. When asked about his time behind bars, Sheff G spoke candidly about what he witnessed lessons learned the hard way, in a world where survival often comes at permanent cost.
First thing I saw behind bars that I always remember, the first thing I seen that really made me like, this is some, I remember when I first got locked up, and there was mad people sleeping on the floors inside of the pen, you heard? And I had to go in there to sleep on the floor too. And I seen how they was treating us, so I'm like, damn, we're not even like human.
Those early stints behind bars didn't change much. In 2023, Sheff G was indicted in a massive 140-count RICO case alongside 31 other defendants, facing charges tied to shootings, illegal gun possession, and conspiracy to murder rivals. Prosecutors allege that he used money earned from music to finance violence claiming. He even put bounties on people's heads, which it's allegedly paid for using streaming revenue. One of the most damaging accusations stated that Sheff G acted as a getaway driver in a 2021 shooting that injured innocent bystanders. In 2025, he ultimately pleaded guilty to attempted murder and conspiracy, receiving a 5-year prison sentence. Afterward, Sheff G left a warning for the next generation. Prison isn't what it looks like in the movies. Go to college instead, because it's a better dorm. Another major figure in Brooklyn drill's rise is Jeffrey Mark Alexander, known globally as 22GZ. Born in 1997 in Flatbush, Brooklyn, 22GZ helped pioneer the Brooklyn drill sound with records like Suburban, capturing the raw aggression of street life. Affiliated with the Blicky Gang, his long-running beefs with rival crews were documented not only in his lyrics, but also in police files. His criminal history includes a 2014 conspiracy to commit murder charge that was later dropped, followed by second-degree murder charges in 2017 stemming from a Miami shooting, also eventually dismissed after several months. In 2018, he was arrested again for weapons and marijuana possession. But the most serious case came in 2022, when 22GZ was charged with attempted murder, assault, weapons possession, and reckless endangerment following a March shooting at a Brooklyn party that left 3 people injured. Authorities tied the incident to ongoing gang rivalries frequently referenced in his music. His reputation became so severe that he was banned from performing at Rolling Loud, New York in 2019, with organizers citing safety concerns over his alleged gang ties to an artist excluded from a major festival because of fears his presence could spark violence. Now we take the story across the Atlantic to the United Kingdom, where drill music evolved into its own force and brought similar consequences. Reese Angelo Emile Herbert, better known as Digga D, was born in 2000 in Ladbroke Grove, West London, and rose to fame as part of the group 1011, later renamed CGM. His criminal history began in his teenage years, marked by repeated arrests and incarcerations. In 2018, Digga D and other members of 1011 were convicted of conspiracy